Today we're making plantain lasagna. This recipe is a variation of your traditional lasagna recipe, switching up the noodles for, you guessed it, sweet ripe plantains. This is the perfect filling comfort food that you need to make. I love the sweetness of the ripe plantain, and the savory meat sauce is just the perfect combination. So let me show you how to make it. Hello, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, hi, my name is Nadia and this is Nashi Food, where I teach you how to make Latin-inspired recipes at home. A couple of reasons why I love this recipe so much. You can prep it ahead of time and bake it the day you need it. You can even freeze it, and it's just the perfect comfort food. A key important part for this recipe is when you are going to select your ripe plantains. Make sure that the ripe plantain have a yellow peel and have a couple of black spots, but they are still firm to the touch. So let's start by prepping our ingredients. First, we're going to finely chop a carrot, a celery stalk, and an onion and set them aside. This will be the base of our beef sauce. Now let's prepare our plantains. Remove the ends of the plantains. Then score the plantain peel with a small paring knife along the seam and pull the peel off. Since the plantains are ripe, the peel will be easy to remove. Now we're going to cut the plantain lengthwise in strips. So you can cut it first in half, then in half again, and half again. Depending on how thick your plantain is, you will be having between 4 and 6 plantain strips for one plantain. So you can repeat the process with the 2 remaining ones. Now that we have prepped all our ingredients, let's start by making our beef sauce. In a skillet over medium heat, let's add a little bit of oil and then brown all your ground beef. Make sure to break it down apart. Once all the ground beef is brown, you can transfer it to a plate and set it aside. In the same skillet, add your onion, carrots, and celery stalks and saute until tender. That's between 4 to 5 minutes. At this point, your kitchen will just smell amazing. Now that your veggies are tender, add your garlic and saute just until fragrant. Just make sure not to burn it. Add back the ground beef and mix with the veggies. At this point, we're going to season with salt, pepper, and oregano. Now reduce to low heat and add a can of diced tomatoes and let it simmer for about 15 minutes. There shouldn't be too much liquid, so make sure you keep an eye on it. Once the time is up, remove from the stove and set it aside. Now let's make the cheese sauce. You will need 3 ingredients. In a small bowl, add cottage cheese, 1 egg, Italian seasoning, and mix just until combined and set aside. This is the time to preheat your oven to 350 degrees Fahrenheit. Since the oven will be preheating, we will continue to cook our other ingredients. So now let's cook our ripe plantains. In a big non-stick skillet, spray a little bit of oil and we are going to fry up each of the plantain strips until golden brown on each side. Do this in batches and repeat until you have finished with all of them. If your plantains are on the softer side, try to not add too much oil because those will tend to soak it up. Now we are going to the fun part, the assemble of the plantain lasagna. In this recipe I use a loaf pan, but if you prefer you can also use a square baking pan. I have used both and it works perfectly. I prefer the loaf pan because it will give me like a higher lasagna, but you just use what you have on hand. So the first layer that we're going to put in our loaf pan are the plantain strips. If your fried plantains are longer than your loaf pan, just cut them to fit into the loaf pan. The next layer will be a cheese sauce and then the meat sauce. And after the meat sauce, you will add mozzarella cheese. So the layers are plantains, cheese sauce, beef sauce, mozzarella cheese, and repeat. The last layer will be plantains, And then if we have any remaining ground beef and cheese sauce, we are going to mix them together and add it on top of your final layer of plantains. And we are going to just sprinkle more mozzarella cheese on top. Bake it in an oven for about 30 minutes. Let it cool for around 10 minutes before cutting, because that will ensure that the cheese has already settled a little bit and it doesn't fall apart when you take it out from the loaf bun. You can serve this plantain lasagna with a green salad on the side, or even you can add some of those delicious garlic bread. This is the perfect comfort meal with the sweet and savory twist. I hope you enjoyed today's video on how to make my version of plantain lasagna. Remember, the full printable recipe is linked on my website, nashifood.com, and you can also find it in the description box below. Also, if you tried the recipe, don't forget to leave a comment and let us know how it went for you. I'll see you in the next video. Until then, keep sharing your love for me. If you enjoy eating sweet plantains, make sure to click on the sweet plantain arepas recipe next.